Alright guys, this is how I did it. I have a receiver, this awesome little black receiver, and all I'm going to need is these four wires. Red, green, white, and black. Don't need the blue and orange, that's for normally closed, and the blue is for data, for programming the little transmitter. But obviously there's like a little button, you just pop that little cap off and you can program it. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take these red and black and then I'm going to wire it up to this little Molex. All I have to do is just pop out. I've already got these. Well, they're not going to pop out. I have to pop them out later. We're going to pull these out. And I'm going to solder the red and black to it. And that'll be my power. And then all I had to do was go into my power switch and splice these wires into the on and off switch. So it's pretty simple. As you can see from my little diagram here. Nothing too spectacular. Of course, it doesn't really matter which one I use for green and white. And there's like a little illustration of the relay if you're really that curious about it. But that's pretty much cut and dry. Well, after giving it some thought, I thought, well, I really don't want to go into my power switch wires and cut and splice them. You know, that wouldn't look really good. And if I ever wanted to do something else with it, it really wouldn't be that great. So I thought, well, let's put something in there that I can change out. So what I did was I made a little adapter. This thing will focus. I'm on focus. Well, you know, autofocus. There it goes. Okay. So basically what I did is I pulled a couple fan headers and I pulled the leads out of them. You can just get your pair of pliers and you can pull those right out of there, right? And then after you do that, you go to your motherboard. And all I did was I took the little plastic casing, I guess, as you can say, that separates the little leads. And I just took a pair of pliers, and this ain't my motherboard, just an observation. And I just pulled them off the motherboard. If you have some jumpers at home, that'd be great too. But I needed extra long leads and jumpers. So the long leads work great. And all I had to do was put a couple jumpers on one side. There's two jumpers right there. And take the motherboard. It's just kind of like a demonstration. And it'll just plug right into there. Well, if I can see and hold this camera at the same time. It just plugs right in. Focusing. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to really tell there. If I pull it back a little bit. Well, anyway, this side is jumper together. I've soldered it together. And this side over here is jumper together. So all I had to do was, I'll just take this one, and that's running all the way to that receiver I soldered it to. And it'll just plug in like so on the back side or front side or whatever I want to do. Probably shouldn't be looking at the phone while I'm trying to do this. Yeah, and then I'll just plug my other side in the other side. And since they're, you know, soldered together, I can just take this out whenever I want. You know, maybe I don't want to have a wireless push-button computer anymore. So, yeah, neat little adapter there that I made. Took about 15-20 minutes of brainstorming, and all it's made of is just some jumper parts and some fan header leads and two jumpers and a little piece of had some leftover breadboard from another project. I just cut out 4 little pieces and then just jumpered 2 sides together. So yeah, neat little jumper or adapter, whatever you want to call it. So guess you'll see it in the computer. Guess what, guys? It works, but only when the computer's turned on. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking whenever I was like, oh, I'm going to use a Molex connector because, yeah, that's an easy source of power. But you know what? It doesn't get power when the computer's turned off. Yeah, y'all probably were like, no, don't use a Molex connector. But you weren't screaming loud enough because I just used it anyway. And, you know, it only works when the computer was turned on. So, I was thinking I need something, you know, portable power or something. Didn't really want to tap into my main power connector on my 24-pin motherboard or whatever. So I was like, I'll use a 9-volt battery. And you know what? it works really good. Surprised, it's not 12 volts. But you can hear it clicking. So, yeah, it may not get the awesome range that it would have with 12 volt power, but we'll give it a shot. Well, if it'll zoom, yep. And there's my little adapter that I made. It works so great, and I can still use my power button. See? The computer hasn't turned on yet, so I'll just shut it off. See? And it still works. Everything's still functional. Huh? Guess what, guys? It works. It works so cool. I got a wireless controlled computer. Let's just hold it, see if it turns off now. And it shuts off. Yeah. Now I got a little remote controlled computer, so I can just turn it off and on whenever I want. Let me know what y'all think.